Okay, if you guys ready? Okay, good afternoon. My name is John McCarthy. I'm the State's Attorney for Montgomery County. I'm here to report to you what just transpired in court before Judge Eric Johnson, who's a district court judge for Montgomery County, Maryland. Eric Nee, who is a district court judge for Montgomery County, Maryland. The hearing was conducted largely by Zoom. I was present in the courtroom, but the defendant was represented by counsel, a member of the public defender's staff who joined by Zoom. The defendant was present in the hearing by Zoom. Early this morning, there was a motion filed by the defense waiving the right that Mr. Dixon had to have a bond review today before Judge Nee determined whether or not he should be released pending the resolution of the true criminal matters in which he is charged. The judge granted that motion today, but he did inform Mr. Dixon on the record of his rights to a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing in this case is set for May the 7th at 10:30 in the morning in this same courthouse. The preliminary hearing is at 10:30 for both the murder as well as the first-degree assault. And as you know from the media that's covered this matter already, those are two separate and distinct matters. The total amount of time to which the judge advised Mr. Dixon he was facing on the murder-related charges was 135 years. Relative to the assault, he was advised that he faced 45 years. The total amount of time that Judge Nee told the defendant he was facing in both of these matters was a combined 180 years in prison. The result of today's hearing is Mr. Dixon is in custody. He will remain in custody. He is held without bond on both matters and will remain in that status until these matters are resolved. The preliminary hearing date, May 7th, means that we must act. We must go to the grand jury in advance of that date, present an indictment to the grand jury, and then they would determine what charges would be brought for the two matters. These are distinct and separate matters, and the indictments will be separate for the assault and for the murder-related charges. There are multiple members of the victims' families from the murders that are present here today. We are meeting with them, gathering information from them, and we will be coordinating and keeping the families informed of the course of conduct in this case and where we'll be headed in the future. So having said that, again, I don't really have anything else. Ramon Korinoff is here. He has, for those of you who do not have copies of the charging document for the first-degree assault, we have copies of that for you. And for those of you who don't have copies of the charging document for the homicide, we have those copies for you. Those are public documents contained in the record. So,
was that the extent of the motion that the public defender's office filed? She said something about two motions, and that was it.
Well, let me tell you, we're going to give you a copy of the motion she filed, and it's very brief. It's about 3 sentences long, and it just says, Mr. Dixon, by and through his counsel, Lucy Larkins, Assistant Public Defender, waives the initial bond review in the above captioned case currently set for April 12th. It's very simple, and that was the motion. The judge had not ruled on this prior to the hearing in there, but again, Mr. Dixon's counsel said, look, we don't want a hearing, we're not requesting a hearing, we're not seeking his release, and so the judge granted the motion.
I don't know if you can address this, but what would be the strategy?
You know, I think you got to ask Miss Larkin. I think you got to ask Miss Larkin.
You've been doing this a long time. Did you anticipate this?
I had not seen motions to waive a bond review in advance of the hearing. It's not uncommon that a defense attorney who just gets into a case who doesn't really know much about the case, doesn't know much about their own client, wants some time to figure that out. So asking or waiving a right to a bond hearing, it's rare, but certainly not unheard of.
Does this case shed any light on the bigger picture as far as police reform, just in a general sense?
Well, again, I will tell you, as said by the chief down in Takoma Park, Mr. Dixon enjoyed no police powers in Maryland. He was not acting as a police officer in either of these incidences. He was employed in the capacity as a police officer there, but he was a private citizen in both of these matters.
Have you looked at this video of him approaching the homeless woman allegedly in the lobby involving assault charges.
Yeah,
were you shocked by that, and do you wish that you'd gotten involved earlier?
Look, can I say, I think it's improper for me to characterize my own personal reaction to it. He's been charged. He's been properly charged. And comments I have about what he did will be made in open court. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Go down and get in the front.
Some of us are streaming this.
Come on, Mr. Stand here for a second.
Sir, some of us are streaming this. If you could identify yourself before you speak.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Malik Shabazz. MalikShabazz. Malik Shabazz. I am one of the attorneys who represents the children of Dominique Williams, who is one of the persons who was gunned down by Officer Dixon last week. That's who I am. I am Malik Shabazz. I am one of the attorneys who representing the family, and I represent Miss Leanna Turner and his children who are here. Sir?
Do you want me to ask questions? But
I will. And representing his children, his two young girls who are here.
And the two young girls.
And
This is the oldest, the youngest, and there's two young girls.
how many children does he
4.
He has 4 kids.
Yes.
Yes, 4 children, okay. First of all, I want to say that there will be a formal news conference at 6 o'clock. At 1 o'clock this Wednesday at 1 o'clock. The address is 6305 Ivy Lane. 6305 Ivy Lane, suite number 608, Greenbelt, Maryland 20770. 6305 Ivy Lane, Greenbelt, Maryland, suite number 608, 20770 at 1 o'clock this Wednesday. Okay? And so I just want to say on behalf of Dominique's, all of his children, and the mothers of his children, that this was a very important day, and Officer Dixon must be held accountable for shooting Dominique in the back and for shooting these 2 young men in the back without justification, without cause. It's another sad day that we are here because a police officer who's sworn to protect the public has decided that he would be judge, jury, and executioner on the spot, and that he would virtually assassinate these men. And that's why we're here today. The charges are appropriate. Second-degree murder charges are appropriate. And we have to make sure these charges stick, because never has a police officer been convicted in this county for murder. And I think now is the time. And we have to have an end to police brutality. We have to have an end to young girls and the young children of Dominique having to grow up without their father because angry and malicious police officers decide that they will be judge, jury, executioner, and take the life of one at their own will.
How many kids are we talking precisely that belong to Dominique? Can you have that?
Dominique has 4 children. Could you raise your hands? 4. We have young Trinity, Treasure.
Trinity and Treasure.
Trinity. I'm sorry. Trinity and Treasure.
Dominic Jr.
That's Brother Dominic Jr.
Carla.
Harlem.
Harlem.
Oh, I know about Harlem. That's right. Young Harlem.
How old are you guys?
9,
How old are you?
5, 7.
All right. And so it's another black man has been assassinated without due process, without just cause, and has left now 4 babies, 4 young children here to survive on their own. And we are hoping the prosecution in this case is going to be very successful, as well as the other lawyers that are pursuing justice in this case.
Are you optimistic the way things have gone so far? Are you satisfied with how the prosecutors behaved so far?
I was surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised at the swiftness of the charges being brought. I respect the vigorousness of the prosecutor here, and it looks like he's going to vigorously and prosecute this case, and he's keeping everybody informed. So I think the prosecution is going well at this point, and that we'll be here, and the community is going to be here to watch to make sure that justice is done.
What do you make of the prior incident last May with the homeless woman in the lobby? Have you seen the video and the Pentagon and the investigation that happened then and that he remained in office? What do you make of that whole sequence of events?
I think those sequence of events are a forewarning that Dixon was dangerous, a forewarning to the place where he lived, a forewarning to the place where he worked, that Dixon was dangerous, that he was likely to use deadly force without cause, that he threatens to use deadly force without cause. And we want to know, did his employers know about the existence of this video and how serious this incident was in advance? And did the place where he lived, the premises where he lived, did they know about this incident? And why is it just now coming to light? We're happy that it came to light, but we're very concerned that it comes to light only now because something could have been done. Something could have been done in advance because obviously Dixon was dangerous and he was known to be dangerous.
You say liability rests with the condominium as well as the Pentagon?
It might, perhaps, though they are all within the range of liability. Of course, he himself as an individual, Mr. Dixon, the place where he lived, the place where he worked, the Pentagon, we want to know. All of these, we want to know, and we're going to find out the extent of liability in pursuing all of those.
Do you think that
pursuing all of them.
Might Dominique be alive today if people had paid more attention to that previous incident?
Absolutely, absolutely. If that incident had been acted on and taken seriously by the police, by the place where he lived, and by where he worked at the Pentagon, then Dominique Williams and the other gentlemen, everyone may be alive, and this may never have happened.
And let me ask you another question. According to Officer Dixon, he saw these men trying to break into a car. Is that at all relevant here?
First of all, I can't say that that's true at all. We are investigating that. We don't know whether that's true at all. And I would say it's not relevant to the use of deadly force. Okay, it's if a person spots a person breaking into his car or another car, you cannot use deadly force to stop a property crime. You know, that's just the bottom line. You use deadly force in response to the imminent threat of deadly force and nothing else. It's not up to Dixon to judge whether a crime had been committed, who he would commit, and what penalty he would exercise by the use of his gun to execute those that he thought were committing a crime. We don't know whether they had any involvement in that at all at this point. Now, there's a GoFundMe. I have to say this. There's a GoFundMe. It's on GoFundMe. We need help here. Justice for Dominique Williams. Justice for Dominique Williams is on GoFundMe. And we ask you to support that on GoFundMe. Justice for Dominique Williams, for those who are asking. Mr. Ford?
Dixon said that, Dixon had no police powers at all. He had no police powers in Maryland during his residence. Does this speak to something other than policing of force and maybe the secondary landing is he wasn't acting as a police officer?
Well, we have to see. We have to examine on whether or not he was acting as a police officer. We have to go over his orders and his general orders to affirm that. It has been alleged by the Pentagon security forces that he was off duty, and the police have said that he did not have police powers, but that is something we're investigating. He may in fact have been exercising his police powers, and that's something we're looking into. We don't accept that he doesn't have police powers at this moment. We're going to look at everything. We're looking at everything. His employment contracts, the statutes, everything that we can look at for anyone that can be held accountable. Okay? And so you'll hear more from, I guess, his children and the mothers of his children on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, 6305 Ivy Lane, Suite 608 in Greenbelt, Maryland. And that's when we'll be at 1 o'clock. And also, and that will be it right now, but we have to have justice against police brutality. And this is taking place all over America, and it's right here at home. We have to have justice. Is that right?
So are you going to file a civil case that you're going to have?
A civil case, of course, will be filed. Once the information and our investigation is police, of course, a civil case will be filed. And our first demand right now is that Dixon be convicted, be tried and convicted on these second-degree murder charges, because that is the first step in justice for Dominique and those who were slain. Second-degree murder charges and nothing else. Because his children, they want their daddy, but they want justice also. Is that right?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Justice. No justice, no peace.
They want justice. All right?
What type of guy Dominique was?
He was a very active loving father.
Tell us briefly how you.
Uh,
I just want to say, Dominique. I just want to say I'm Dominique's girlfriend, and I just want to say they really destroyed everybody's lives. Like we all depending on Dominique, all of us. And Dominique touched a lot of people. So justice need to be served for him, so they could live, so they could learn how to live without their father, which they will never do. But I'm gonna be here. I don't gotta prove myself. They already know. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
What's your name?
My name Candace.
What is it?
Candace.
Candy?
With a K. Gooden. I don't need the telephone. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
Gooden.
Janet?
Gooden.
Good. Thank you.